His grandfather was taken from the family home in France, where he was in the basement hiding. He was taken off to a death camp where he died. Olivier's grandfather. He has written a brand new article that just came out yesterday. We are far beyond a repeat of the 1930s and 40s. He opens it up by saying the 1930s and 40s were not a good time to be Jewish in Europe. Hitler was afraid of the Jews. He feared that Judeo-Christian ethics would change the world that he wanted to control with an iron fist. He had to get rid of all Jews at any cost, and he almost succeeded. His program, known as the Final Solution to the Jewish Question, was a euphemism for the eradication of all of European Jews, just like From the River to the Sea is a euphemism for the destruction of all Jews of the 21st century, cloaked in a social justice statement. 2025 is not a good time to be Jewish anywhere in the world, except possibly in Israel. I don't know how many of you have seen the video footage by now, the video footage of a Jewish man being attacked at knife point. Reports are stabbed in the chest a few times yesterday on the street in New York by a man shouting anti-Semitic slurs, we're told, according to reports. The video is pretty clear. And now they are supposedly looking for the individual. You know, I don't think they really want to find these people, to be honest with you. I know that we have ICE is all over Memphis, and I have no problem with ICE being here, getting illegals out of the Memphis area. But I know for a fact ICE is here, and they have supposedly have hired bounty hunters. And I know for a matter of fact, they have been able to find some of these folks working on random job sites by pinging their phones. They can ping their phones and find them on random job sites. Isn't it interesting when there's a bounty and money to be made, they can find who they want to find? You're telling me they don't know how to go back with cell towers and know exactly what phones were in that area right there and ping them? Same goes with this whole thing at Brown University. Something is very odd about that whole situation, right? And we are getting reports today, by the way, that may have been a Jewish professor who was killed about an hour away from Brown. We have Yeshiva World News says Jewish pro-Israel MIT professor shot and killed. Police investigating. Pro-Israel. Jewish pro-Israel. So they must think he is. And then I went over there to another website, and that is Israel News. Let's see if I can find that one real quick. This one is Israel National News. I don't know if I can find it. I showed it a while ago to the guys. Now I need to find it again. But they're claiming he's Jewish. The reason I bring that up is because there's been a lot of controversy around and swirling around. Is he Jewish? Is he not Jewish? But several Jewish outlets are saying he was. Not that it matters as far as murder's murder, but I was trying to figure out, was it a Jewish attack? I did read today there it is, Israel National News. Israel National News. Jewish MIT professor fatally shot at Massachusetts home. He is married, according to reports, and has children. One report says the lady that lives up above him was lighting her menorah candle at about 8:30 local time when she heard the gunshots, opened the door, saw him laying on his back where he had been shot. I don't know. Is Iran involved in this? An MIT professor involved in nuclear programs and nuclear energy programs? I don't know. Then yesterday, we saw 2 attacks of Jews in 24 hours. Maybe you saw the video of the other attack It involved a group of Jews from Canada returning from a Hanukkah event in Manhattan. A father and son attacked the young men on the subway, beat them, and cursed them for being Jewish. And it's not just Jewish. We've warned Christians, it's us too. We warned, Olivier is warned, they're coming for the Saturday people, then the Sunday people. And I don't know if you've seen the video. We can't play it here because there's too much cursing in it. I mean, I guess we could play the video for TV without sound. But have you seen the video of what seems like a dear, sweet, older lady working at a Target store? She's wearing a red shirt, like I guess most of the employees there wear red shirts, but her red shirt has freedom written across of it. Maybe we can just show a screenshot of it. And I think it says Charlie Kirk right on the shirt. And some lady puts a cell phone video camera in this lady's face as she's restocking the shelves. It looks like she's hanging clothes back up on the shelf and starts cursing at her and calling her names because she's wearing that shirt. And she's angry that she's, reportedly an employee wearing that red shirt. And she says, I can wear this shirt. It's a red shirt. I can choose and wear this. And the woman is just cursing her for wearing the shirt that says freedom and then Charlie Kirk. And she starts defaming Charlie. What is it that would set that woman off? Could it be the fact that Charlie Kirk was a very vocal, self-described Christian that quoted the Bible and would answer apologetic questions? See, the point I'm making here is, folks, that it's getting very dangerous to be visible out in public as a Christian and a Jew. Remember yesterday we reported on the woman that had acid thrown on her in Savannah, Georgia. Reports are church-going. Reports are she had just come out of a church. Is that why she had acid thrown on her? Because she was identified as coming out of a church? I don't know, but the headline was a church-going woman. We could go on and list other cases where Christians are now aggressively being targeted. I'm telling you, guys, we're there. About a month or two ago, I was out to dinner with my wife. I always try to sit with my back to a wall where I can see what's coming. And a gentleman was looking at me with three other folks at the table. And he kept looking at me, but not in a way that made me uncomfortable. But like, I thought, well, maybe he and I know each other. And finally, he said across the loud room, and the table was nearby us, but it was a full room at the restaurant, "You're that guy on TV." And thankfully, I could tell by his tone of voice, he was not hostile. I walked over and stuck out my hand and said, "Yes, I am. Where are you watching the program?" Thinking he was going to say, "Oh, we watch you on Roku or whatever." He said, "I watch you on TV 30. I said, "Well, that's Milwaukee. What are you doing here in the Mid-South?" "I'm on vacation. I'm visiting my friends here." And we had a wonderful conversation. Wonderful conversation. And apparently he watches my newscast every night at 10 o'clock. And that is fine. That I like. That's wonderful. We had a wonderful conversation. Wonderful Christian man, and I think a deacon at his church. There are other times I've been recognized out in public, and it wasn't positive. And the point is that it's becoming increasingly concerning to be a conservative Christian, and now a conservative Christian Zionist and a Jew. And this is exactly what I've been trying to warn about now for some time. Remember when I put on the national conference in 2018, Holocaust Horizon? And in the subtitle was specifically about Christians and Jews. And I had the Christian flag and the Jewish flag on fire. We're there. But sadly, we're actually beyond there. The there being the 1930s and 40s. Joining me now to discuss it, as I said to you, is a man whose grandfather was taken from the family home in France to a death camp where he perished. Olivier Melnick. Olivier, welcome to the broadcast once again. Thank you for being with us. Sorry it's under these circumstances.
Hey, Brennan. I was happy to contribute to your program.
Well, you do contribute. You do contribute. Tell me about your thoughts on the opening monologue with these two attacks in 24 hours in New York City, but also what is rising attacks on Christians or people that are identified as embracing Christian values or a Christian worldview or well-known public people like Charlie Kirk, lady being cursed out because she's wearing a shirt that represented Charlie with his name on it. The Jews and the Christians it's fair game. I think the Jews are, of course, getting the brunt of it, but I expect the Christians to catch up real quick in the attacks that will come on them. What say you?
Yeah, I wish I could come on your show at this time of the year and say, let's discuss the correlation between Hanukkah and Christmas, and there wouldn't be Christmas if it was not for Hanukkah, and have some nice explanation of all this and have a good time because of the time of the year. Unfortunately, that we cannot even do that right now. And when you say you mentioned several times in your opening monologue, we're there. I couldn't agree more. For the last several years, until about a year ago, I published an article on our website called 6 Signs That We Are Approaching the 1930s and 40s. And yesterday, I published an article on our blog saying that we are now past the 1930s and 40s. And I explained that in the article, several reasons why I think that we are beyond the 30s and 40s. You're showing the article on the screen right now. And it is, I believe we've reached a point of no return. This is not going to get better. It's getting worse by the day, by the hour, globally. And so we are there. And what happened in Australia, Brandon, is very, very concerning because it did not happen in a vacuum. It happened as on the tail end of a series of anti-Semitic events that took place over the last year. And of course, that did not prevent Australia from recognizing Palestine in September of 2025, just a couple of months ago at the 80th General Assembly in New York. They are among all the new countries that were added to the list recognizing Palestine and wanting to free the Palestinian and that nonsense. But we are beyond the 1930s and 40s.
Hold right there. I don't want the computer to take it away. We'll come right back. Olivier Melnick, shalominmessiah.com. We'll be right back. Do you appreciate all the free programming we produce here at Worldview Tube? Well, if you do, we need your partnership now. If you're already supporting us, thank you. If you're not, would you please consider doing so? We have to have a big November and December end of the year giving. Please go here right now to this website, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. You can give through credit card. You can give through PayPal. You'll find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. You'll also find our phone number. Simply use that phone number by leaving a voicemail for Melissa or texting her, and my wife will get back with you and help you make your contribution over the phone. We send out tax receipts with our EIN number, the first week of February of each year. We, again, have to have a very big November and December as we get ready for pushing out more Christian worldview programming for 2026. So thank you for going now to worldviewfoundation.com. That's worldviewfoundation.com. Olivier Melnick, shalominmessiah.com. If you'd like to read his new article, that's all you got to do is go there, shalominmessiah.com, to read his latest article, which we've also linked over at worldviewtube.com. Worldviewtube.com, we've linked it over there. I'm sorry, worldviewreport.com. At worldviewreport.com, we've linked it as a headline article over there. We are beyond a repeat of the 1930s and 40s. Let's pick it up where you today in your article write, or yesterday, in the 1930s and 40s, racial anti-Semitism was contained in Europe, and the vast majority of Judeophobes were Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. Pick it up there.
Yeah, what happened back in the days? It was a localized cancer to Greater Europe, and it was moving too fast, but still a lot slower than how it's moving today. Now it has, like I put in the article, it has metastasized. It's all over the planet, and the thing that the first thing that I think is a problem, and it's been a problem for a long time, is like I quoted Marco Rubio, one of the statement he made yesterday, which it's a nice statement. It shows support. I think it's commendable. But those are just words, and all we see from anybody who's friendly to Israel is statements of denouncing and opposing, and nothing gets done. I feel like we are not going against anti-Semitism. We're going to a gunfight with a knife, because right now anti-Semitism has moved from words to actions. It has kicked it up a notch. There are now, it's no longer words. It includes words, but almost every time now it includes actions, and those actions are actually, in some cases, like we just saw in Sydney, and in the professor from MIT, they're lethal, and it is not going to stop. What is it going to take for the Jewish community to understand that, like I put in the article, it's hunting season against the Jews? And Brandon, you're very right. It's the Jews and then the Christians. Right now, Christian Zionists like yourself could actually suffer from anti-Semitism, because all you have to do is go into a public place and wear a T-shirt with the flag of Israel, or I support Israel, or anything to do with the Jewish people, or any symbol of anything Jewish on your car or on your window or anything. And you are now at risk of being harassed and possibly even physically abused by anti-Semites. So anti-Semitism is now not only going after Jews, but it's also starting to hurt Christian Zionists. And I think that's a new development that shows that we're getting even closer. It's getting worse. Mm-hmm. And then of course, the other thing that I talk about in the article is the fact that back in the days in the 30s and 40s, we did not have Israel as a modern nation. Israel has always existed since God created it, but as a modern nation, not until 1948, May 14, 1948. So it was only going after the Jews. But now anything that happens in Israel, invented in Israel, curated in Israel, proposed, anything that comes out of Israel becomes an issue and a thorn in the flesh of anti-Semites. Mm. And then the last thing that I talk about is the fact that because of the internet and and social media, back in the days, the minister of propaganda for the Nazi Germany party was Joseph Goebbels, and he was extremely crafty and talented, if we can use that word, at drumming up the masses and saying, this is what the Jews are, this is why we need to go after them. He was the minister of propaganda, but he was one man. He had a staff, whatever, but he was one man, and communication could only go so far and so fast. Now, with the advent of the internet and social media, technically any anti-Semite online can become a virtual instant Joseph Goebbels, and the trash against the Jews goes online. It's instantaneous, it's global, and it recruits people all over the world. The vast majority of them are against the Jews. They've never met one in person.
I've never met one in person. That's so true. And I've asked that. I'm like, how many of these people know a Jewish family? How many of them know a Jewish child? Right? And you're going to tell me you're going to hate that child? Like the 10-year-old little girl that was murdered in Australia. Why would anyone have animosity toward that child, much less an adult Jew? But why?
I've said, I'm sorry. You didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
No, I'm saying, I said it on your show before, Brennan. It's satanic. It's demonic. It's satanic. But Christian Zionists, beware. You are becoming a target. And there's something that I've done, Brennan, and I don't know that I've talked to you on your show previously, but I'm pushing it right now. Any chance I have, I have about a year and a half ago, I was meeting with a couple of friends, pastors who love Israel, and we came up with this concept that I ended up calling "No Synagogue Left Behind." And I have several pastors I know, East Coast, West Coast, who have implemented that, and it's been great. The pastor of a church who loves Israel, if they read their Bible and they support Israel, I encourage, I challenge the pastor, call your local synagogue and say, hey, I'm Pastor so-and-so from that church. We have a security team at our church that protects us on Sunday mornings. They have concealed carry weapons. They protect us in and out of the church. But we are not busy on Friday nights. We're not busy on Saturday night. I would love to have coffee with you, meet with you at the synagogue, introduce you to our security team, and make them available for free to come provide you security when you have your Shabbat services. I know several pastors who started doing it. It has opened doors. It has built bridges between Jews and Christians in ways that we haven't seen in a long time. And we need this right now desperately.
Indeed. I called on Sunday. I called the wife of a rabbi I know in town, and offered any assistance, any support, anything I can do, let me know. And you guys want you to be careful. And she said, look, we're doing our Hanukkah party, and we're going to be moving it to the back of the building and adding security and off of a busy road, which would be an easy target. So yeah, people should be doing that. Yep. And this rabbi's wife knows that I'm a Christian Zionist, right? So by reaching out, I'm trying to send a message, right? And that's how we can be a light to even our unbelieving Jewish friends, right?
Absolutely. I tell you, this is opening some incredible opportunities, doors for opportunities to share the gospel and to see our Jewish friends saved and become believers like I did in 1983 when I gave my life to Yeshua and trusted that he was the Jewish Messiah and the Savior of the world. And that's what I want for more of my people before it's too late. I mean, we are... I think I mentioned that in a previous show. Maybe I did not. It's worth repeating, though. There was a survey performed by the ADL in January or February of 2025. So it's almost a year old now. And the result of the survey was that 46% of all adults in the world harbor some kind of anti-Jewish sentiment. So that's 46%. You can maybe call it 50%. It's been another year now. Maybe it's over 50%. But here we have 50% of the world. Half the world is anti-Semitic as of right now. And Brandon, this lines up with the promise, for lack of a better word, or the scripture that tells us in Zechariah 12:3 that in the end days, the whole world will go against Jerusalem. The whole world will hate the Jews. We're halfway there. This is a prophecy being fulfilled in our lifetime. We're halfway there.
And if you think it's bad in New York now, wait until the new mayor
Mamdani,
right?
Look, that guy is the poster child for anti-Semitic Judeophobia, hatred. We have no idea how bad it's going to get and how fast it's going to get bad. New York is, there's already a lot of businesses, a lot of people moving out of New York. I have no desire. The ministry I used to be with, prior to starting Shalom and Messiah 2 years ago, great ministry. I have nothing against them. I have many friends there, but they're based in New York, and I pray for them regularly. I have no desire to be in New York right now, especially in Manhattan, or I have no desire to be there.
You mentioned a lot of talk, but not a lot of action, and that's interesting because I was just having that conversation with our team today. God bless President Trump where he's doing good, but there's too much talk. There's too much salesmanship and selling and telling me, we're gonna maybe end the Internal Revenue Service and bring in so much money with tariffs we can get rid of that. Yeah, really? Because I don't think you're bringing enough money from tariffs to even come close to doing that. But I know it's a great way to distract from other things. And then telling me and trying to convince me and sell me that the economy is the best it's ever been when I know what groceries cost, the spiking of car insurance, health insurance, homeowners insurance, trying to convince me that it's not raining out. It's a sunny day when there's a tsunami out. Really, I'm not buying it. Sorry. I'm tired of the talk. I want to see action. Now, he did do some things yesterday. He supposedly has expanded the travel ban against folks from Syria and South Sudan. So that I appreciate. But there seems like he could be doing an awful lot more. Does it not?
Listen, you don't want to ask me about President Trump right now.
Yeah, I do. Because this is a truth-telling network. And when you're building a base, helping bring Qatar to Idaho, and you say you're going to designate Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization, but you're really only looking, from the reports I read, at a couple chapters of the group, that could be really small.
Yeah,
I'm not buying all the stuff he's selling. So, no, I'm already very skeptical here, so don't worry about being too honest.
And the peace plan that he has for Gaza is just not going to work, because Hamas has clearly declared that they're not interested in disarming or rebuilding or getting along. The problem with Trump, and I think most people are starting to see it, and I voted for him, okay, because what's the alternative, okay? So I voted for him, and I don't regret having voted for him. I just think that right now he is either willfully ignoring or naively ignoring the fact that you cannot deal with anything in the Middle East with any other way than force. He's trying to inject a Western mentality into his negotiation in the Middle East. Well, first of all, there's no negotiating in the Middle East. You're either on top or you don't exist. And so we're coming into this area with a Western civilization, Western culture approach, where we're not dealing with the same kind of ideology, same kind of culture. It's never going to work. And on top of that, he's also dealing with this mentality of every move I make is like a deal. It's great that, we elected a president that was a businessman. It served a great purpose. He was not able to be bought by the swamp or by anybody else. That was great. There was the politics, he didn't buy into all that because he was self-supported, and he was a businessman. That has a lot of positives. But I think right now, it is going too far. And for him to take everything that he's doing, especially in the Middle East, as a business deal, it's bound for failure. I mean, come on. He's closing the door on Syria, but a few weeks ago, he had the leader of Syria, who's basically an Al-Qaeda operative in an Armani suit. Give me a break.
Yeah, well said. I'll come back. We'll wrap it up with my buddy, Olivier Melnick, shalominmessiah.com. Then we'll go to Patrick Wood, shalominmessiah.com. I'm Leo Holman. And then we'll talk a little bit about the latest with the tech bros. Don't go away. Be right back.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System, because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, our website, worldviewradio.com. Let me put in here, see if I can find what I just saw. Guys, it looked like a team of, maybe you guys can help me find it in there real quick. It looked like I did just see the video, then I lost it. A video of, it was an acronym. It was an acronym for a team. And I think they were Jewish guys. And they were cleaning up the crime scene in Australia and scraping up the blood. Is there something going on there? Is there some kind of Jewish protocol and respect for the deceased or was that a crime group in there? Did Israel, do you know anything? Did Israel send in a crime lab or what?
All I can tell you is that according to Judaism, when a person dies, Jewish law requires that the person would be buried within 24 hours. As far as cleaning the blood, I don't know if it was a crime scene, a CSI, or anything else. I'm not aware of any. It could be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how I shut down that picture, but I did. Now I don't have it. But it looked like it was a group of Jewish folks doing that. By the way, you have seen the two Jewish folks that were dead, that were pictured being dead, who were trying to stop the gunman from getting out of his car in Sydney. You have seen that couple gave their life trying to stop him from the very word of go. I mean, they saw him getting out of his car. You've seen that, right?
Yeah, and and you're aware that there was only 2 police officers for 1,000 people.
Yes. Can you believe that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's no matter which way you try to spin this event, it's not looking good for Australian government. They've ignored everything. They've even ignored a letter from Netanyahu saying all the red flags that you've seen over the last year and a half. We told you, be careful, something bad's going to happen, and here we are. So I don't even know. You mentioned that at the beginning, Brennan, and I don't want to revisit that because you have another guest here. But you mentioned that it's almost like they're willfully ignoring all this, and they don't care.
Well, it is like that. It is like that. 100% it is.
So we have to rely on Christians like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you go to Yeah. Did you go to the pre-trib conference?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. What did you think? How was it?
I spoke there. I was one of the speakers. It's a great conference. I remember, I think I first met you years ago at the pre-trib. That's right. And you were singing at the banquet.
That's right. That's right.
That was years ago. That's how far we go back. Yes.
Yes, absolutely we do. Okay, final question here, and that is a couple, I guess. Number one, your new book. Where can people get your new book?
The new book is in Christian bookstores everywhere books are being sold, and of course on Amazon. End Times, Antisemitism in the End Times. It's on Amazon with all my other books. And it needs to be to go out there. It's covering a lot of the events of October 7th and beyond, and it's almost like I need to do another update now. I can't keep up, but if people visit shalomandmessiah.com, they go to our blog, they'll get the articles. They go to our YouTube channel as well. They can subscribe there. I get a lot of information on Telegram, all the social media. You can use it in a positive way to educate and equip and mobilize, or it can be used in a nefarious, evil way. We choose, you, Brandon, and me and others, we choose to use it in a way that's going to build up, educate, and further God's kingdom.
Absolutely. The last topic, this headline, this is coming from Israel National News, so I'm guessing they probably know now. Although there's been some confusion as to was the MIT professor Jewish. Their headline is Jewish MIT professor fatally shot at Massachusetts home, 47 years old. He's married, had children. What do you make of this? Is this just because, hey, he's a Jewish professor, or do you think there's Iran? Because I'm kind of leaning toward Iran right now.
Yeah, of course. We're tempted to lean towards Iran. I would encourage you and put me in there to maybe wait another day or two to let the dust settle on that one, because there are people that are actually trying to connect the events of Brown University and MIT and see is it the same guy, because they haven't found the guy. So it's gonna come up. We're gonna figure out a little more. But right now, as of this morning, I didn't even think the guy was Jewish, and now it's proven that he's Jewish. So the plot thickens. But then again, it's it's not surprising if he's Jewish. A murder is a murder, but if he's Jewish, it continues to validate the idea that we're proposing that they're coming back for the Jews. Like my mother told me 10 years ago at the kosher supermarket when I called her from Seattle, and she said, they're coming back for us. She had seen the Gestapo come to get her father when she was 15. And she was 87 when I called her. And I said, no, Mom, they're not coming back for us. That was 2015. Brandon, I tell you right now with certainty, they are coming back for us, the Jews. And you, I'm also a Christian, by the way, but you, the Christians, you're right behind us.
Yep, 100%. And you know what? I hate to say it, don't want to be pessimistic or too cavalier, but a lot of these so-called Christians out here are going to be asking, why? Why is this happening? I don't understand. I'm like, well, we've been trying to tell you for a gazillion years now.
Yeah.
But you know what?
We have to,
the pastors, a lot of the pastors, so-called, they're going to cry and complain. But if you don't speak up for the Jews now, who's going to be left to speak up for you? Isn't that what Martin Niemöller said?
That's exactly what he said. And pastors, please call the local rabbi. Tell them you want to be providing them with security. You want to be their friends. Meet with them. Do it. The Jewish community needs to know that there are Christians who are Christian Zionists who read their Bible and who love Israel. Please do it.
Amen to that. Shalominmessiah.com. Shalominmessiah.com. Thank you, Olivier.
Happy holidays, Brandon.
You too. Be safe.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Leo Holman. He has a brand new article out. Here it is at leoholman.substack.com. Trump creates U.S. tech force to hire 1,000 engineers to build AI infrastructure in public-private partnership with Microsoft, Palantir, Google, OpenAI, Oracle, and a host of other godless tech giants. Subtitled, "This is Techno-fascism on steroids." Is this what Trump had in mind when he said fight, fight, fight? Was it a declaration of war against our free republic? Question mark. Joining me now is Leo Holman. Leo, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you back, Leo. All right, so he announced on Monday this new initiative called U.S. Tech Force. Tell us about it, please, and why you're concerned.
Well, this just follows right in line with the World Economic Forum model for where they want to take the world, Brandon, which is the digital reset, digitization of humanity and our identities, digitization of money, where we'll have digital programmable money that can be tracked and traced everywhere that we go, every dime that we spend. And you take it in context and it follows, the AI action plan, artificial intelligence action plan that the White House provided to us back in July. Then that followed up with the Genius Act, which basically gave us a CBDC by another name, central bank digital currency, that's just not regulated directly by the Fed. It'll be issued by the banks, and the banks are regulated by the Fed. So it's essentially the same thing with these stable coins that they're issuing, cryptocurrencies. Then he came out, the president came out just a few days ago and signed an executive order banning all state regulation of artificial intelligence, which is almost certainly going to get challenged in court. And any honest reading of the Constitution, there'd be absolutely no way that a judge or the Supreme Court could possibly say that a president of the United States could take away the state's constitutional ability to regulate within their borders something like AI. Now, if it's interstate commerce, perhaps they could get away with it. But even then, you would think it would take an act of Congress, not just an executive order. So all sorts of things going on right now on the AI front, Brandon, and this whole digitization. And this is just the latest move to create this U.S. tech force, where it's a massive, massive public-private partnership is really what it boils down to, where you will have some of the largest tech companies. We're talking Palantir, Apple, Microsoft, OpenAI, this company called Robinhood and Coinbase. These are crypto companies. Now, why would you need crypto expertise in a tech force, U.S. tech force? That's because they intend to change our currency over from the U.S. paper dollar to a crypto form of currency, probably the stable coin. And so they've got these crypto companies are among the 30 private partners, so-called, that will be working with the federal government on this big, huge project to convert federal agencies over to AI. And they will be replacing many, many human beings in the process. And it's just, like I said, a big public-private partnership between the federal government and 30 of the very largest Silicon Valley tech companies, including crypto companies.
So where do you think, how far down the road do you think we are here for this all being implemented on Trump's watch? Which, by the way, if speaking of watches, if you want to buy one, I keep seeing commercials for him selling watches. And I keep thinking to myself, when is enough money not enough money? And now I see today a trailer out for a movie coming out in theaters of Melania Trump, where I guess a film crew followed her around for the 20 days up to becoming first lady. And I'm thinking to myself, and I text Mark Mitchell, I said, this is horrible optics, okay? You want us to go to the theater and pay to see and I watched the trailer, to see the lavish lifestyle that they live. And some of it, of course, and I know he doesn't take a salary, but still they get limousines and security, but this lavish lifestyle that they live, which is clearly visible if you watch the trailer, and that's fine. They run a company, they've done things, it's their money. I don't begrudge them for success. I'm just thinking, is this the time to be releasing a trailer about the trappings of the family and their lifestyle up to the 20 days she became first lady? And if people want to go see it, it's a free country, they can. I'm just saying, politically, if I were a consultant to them, I would say, hold off on that, guys. Americans are struggling over the kitchen tables. They don't need to see your opulent lifestyle. But hey, you know what? You talk about, is this going to happen on Trump's watch? You can also buy the Trump watch now, apparently. And I keep saying to myself, when does all of this stop? Can we just concentrate on solving the American people's problems versus continuing trying to sell us a ticket to one of their movies or buy a watch or a stable coin? I'm getting a little tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, Brandon. I mean, it's just tone deaf on the part of the administration. Maybe that's why they brought someone like Mark Mitchell in to try to give him some heads up that, hey, the country and you're moving in separate directions. Okay. You need to pull back on some of this portrayal of almost like royalty in the White House. Right. The British have become fed up in recent decades, more and more fed up, I think, with the opulence of the British royals. But, here in America, we kind of have our own version of that, right? And I think, that's something that is wearing thin on the American population as well. But, back to this U.S. tech force. I mean, when you read about it, it really strikes of corporate fascism. You've got the largest.
Hold right there. Computer's going to take it away. We'll be right back with Leo Holman of leoholman.com. Go to worldviewtalk.com. Get your satellite phone like I have, because you know what? China is in on our power grid. That is a matter of proven fact. If you want to have communications with your loved ones, your family, your children, maybe your spouse travels, maybe you have a child away at college, you want communication should the grid go down. That's why you need a satellite phone, worldviewtalk.com. But look what else they have. They also have solar generators. I have one of their solar generators. I have the Delta Echo 400, a solar generator. So I can, of course, charge my satellite phone. I can run my coffee pot. I can run my whole house if I want to. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com, or use that number, 1-866-738-3224. They have very friendly operators that will explain to you their products, but you can explain to them what it is you're desiring to acquire. How much electricity are you wanting to generate with this solar generator? Well, they'll tell you what size you need. Worldviewtalk.com or 1-866-738-3224. Take a look at this picture. This is my beautiful wife. All right, welcome back. back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Radio, website worldviewradio.com. Be sure to stay tuned for Crosstalk with Jim Schneider coming up at the top of the hour on over 100 outlets nationwide. Also at vcy.org, vcy.org. Leo Holman joins me of leoholman.com and leoholman.substack.com. So how far down the road on this whole great reset and new system will be put in place on Trump's watch?
I think it's all going to be put in place on Trump's watch. It's being put in place as we speak. Now, will we have dual systems for a while where we have the traditional, monetary-based fiat currency on the one hand, and then you've got the resource-based crypto digital system on the other hand? Yes, I think we'll have both for a while. And at some point, I don't know when, it may be on Trump's watch, it may be further on down the road, you will see the paper fiat currency completely eliminated and the crypto digital programmable system left standing. That's the one we're going to be left with. That's what people need to understand. And I think this get people used to it. It's been out there for what, 5, 6, 7 years already.
Mm-hmm. There's an article over at the Burning. There's an article
to begin with was just to get people used to it.
There's an article over the Burning platform. An epic AI-led stock market crash with a debt implosion would wipe out most of what's reckoned wealth in America, plunging the nation into a depression. If the Genesis mission, that's the AI executive order thing, makes the government a financial partner of the AI industry, or the AI industry is deemed too big to fail, taxpayers would be stuck with the tab. Many of AI's promoters are on board with the you'll own nothing and be happy world our rulers envision. A crash would fit right in with their beyond Orwellian agenda to impoverish and enslave America. Thus, they might regard this bubble that must inevitably pop as an AI feature, not a bug. In other words, the pop is what will help them, the crash, the doom, the boom and doom. That will be what leads into the new system. And by the way, the government will say, 100%. We're here to save you. We're going to have X number of digits into your account if you just simply surrender to the beast system.
Yeah, it's all about tokenization, Brandon. I mean, why else would they have Coinbase and Robinhood included as these 30 private partners in with the government on this U.S. tech force? And by the way, the CEOs of those two companies, Coinbase and Robinhood, were also present at the signing ceremony for the Genius Act back in July. So you can see the pattern here. They need the crypto expertise in these programs, in these initiatives, because the plan is to change our currency over from the paper dollar to the digital dollar. And at that point, Brandon, it'll be game over for freedom in the United States. That's it. There's no turning back at that point, because we will now be tracked and traced everywhere we go. We'll be assigned a social credit score. Will that happen under Trump's watch? Probably not. But he's erecting the infrastructure right now for that system.
What do you make of this interview, that 11 interviews that I guess Susie Wiles, chief of staff, gave to Vanity Fair? Now, last night I was asking on TV, they're saying that, hey, some of this was taken out of context. I'm like, really? You gave 11 interviews. My guess is some of it was recorded. I think I read this morning where someone was saying, hey, we have the receipts, we have recordings. That's what I heard on one program today, which is kind of what I thought, because I didn't hear anyone saying, oh, no, those are lies. I heard, well, it wasn't quite in context. Okay, that's different from, hey, that's lies. Boy, this wasn't very flattering about Elon, the president, his personality, the way she described it. I wouldn't like that if I were him. The ways that Vance has been described, vice president. I don't know what was going on there. This woman's not unintelligent. She's actually probably pretty bright from what I hear, and has been in the media world for a while. And I think, kind of has a firm that deals with some PR stuff. So I don't think this was like, oh, oopsie. I have to wonder if she isn't actually quite bright of a PR woman, that she was doing some of her own PR. In other words, I kind of see where the ship of state is going, and I need to preserve my credibility for future, endeavors. And so maybe I should do a couple interviews that show that basically he's not listening to me. He's kind of out of control. I can't control him because I got to separate myself from the client, if you will. That's my opinion of what was going on. Strictly my opinion. I could be 100% wrong. But if I were her in her position, wanting to have a job after the Oval Office as White House Chief of Staff and preserve my credibility, I'd be trying to tell people in advance. He kind of does what he wants. I don't really have a whole lot of control, which again fits with what Mark Mitchell said when he came on, I think my program, the first one, and said everything that was said in those meetings, which most people don't do, which was basically, he said, look, Trump's driving the train. And it was pretty clear. I was brought in by her and Vance to tell him, this is how the base sees you and views you. Stop golfing with Brett Baer, who Fox News threw you under the bus on election night in 2020. Stop being seen golfing with people like Lindsey Graham. Stop talking about Americans are not smart enough to take entry-level jobs, so we need the foreigner HB1. Stop talking about 600 Chi-Coms coming in here to prop up these woke communist universities. Stop it. And so it sounds like, from what he said, I was brought in to try to help him realize this. Add that to what she's doing, and I'm thinking, this woman's basically, sending messages, I think, that, hey, I'm not fully in control. Don't blame me. I want to preserve my credibility for future work outside the White House. Could I be wrong in my opinion?
You could be, but I kind of think not. If not her own future hireability as a consultant or whatever, if nothing else, she's concerned about her legacy. The first female chief of staff, I believe she is, and she doesn't want to go down in history as this abject failure. And so she's putting the message out there that, hey, I'm dealing with a president who's very strong-willed, very stubborn. He, quote, just does whatever he wants, she said in the article. And she knows darn well that important interviews like that are tape recorded. So, they have the proof as to whether or not it was in context or out of context. As they say, Brandon, nothing happens by accident in Washington. I think this entire interview was orchestrated to send the message to help, possibly more than just Susie Wiles. There could have been others benefiting from this interview to sort of cover their rear ends after this administration fades into the limelight and is no longer in power. They need to save their backsides, right? They need they need jobs, and they need their legacy intact.
LeoHolman.com. Stay tuned for Crosstalk. Thanks for listening. Take care.
This has been...
And we're back with Leo Holman on WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida, and you here on Worldview Tube. One of the other things that really troubles me too, Leo, is Trump to sign executive order reclassifying marijuana. That's what officials will say. The move would ease federal restrictions on the drug. Now, I'm going to say I agree with this part. I don't think we should be throwing young men or young women into prison, arresting them and treating them like, violent criminals that get caught with pot. I don't think we should be treating them that way because it isn't a violent crime, okay? Give them a ticket, show up at court, pay a fine, whatever it is you need to do. But there's no reason to ruin people's lives so that they can, they have a hard time getting a job, renting an apartment, that kind of thing. There's just no reason to ruin people's lives, particularly when you have states that have legalized it, states that have not legalized it, and the laws are so crazy, right? But I am adamantly opposed to marijuana. The pot today is much stronger than the 1960s, we're told. Some of it is laced. It's a very dangerous drug. I don't care what people tell you. And they have all the reasons why it's made by God. It's an herb, Look, I've seen enough of the studies to know the psychosis it supposedly causes with people, the neurotics it creates, the instability it creates. I'm reading about the number of car crashes now of people that are high on pot. I hate pot. I hate it. I do not want to see the lives of young people destroyed and with a criminal record over it. So I think there needs to be some common sense, but I do not want to see this drug more readily made available and people winking at it more and more and more. What are your thoughts?
I agree, Brandon. And it's also a gateway drug. Just about any law enforcement officer that you talk to will tell you, hey, The kids we were arresting in high school for having marijuana were the same ones we arrested, when they were in college or shortly after with cocaine. So yeah, I think there's many reasons to make sure that it stays illegal, at least on some sort of lower level. And I agree with you. We shouldn't be throwing people away for long sentences because they were caught smoking pot. And that was a problem back in the 90s where they, with cocaine and marijuana, where they selectively enforced it. And, the people of the prominent people's kids in town, they got a slap on the wrist or nothing. And the poor kids got sent to the slammer for 10 years.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to reclassify it for research purposes. Well, then reclassify it for research purposes. Why are we going to lower the classification of it? I don't know. Maybe you have to lower the classification in order not to create a criminal record for these young kids. I just think there has to be a balance, particularly too when our country so promotes alcohol. Alcohol is as destructive, and maybe in some ways more so, but alcohol is equally, I think, as destructive as marijuana. So I just find it very hypocritical when we promote alcohol like crazy in this country, and yet then we throw people away and give them criminal records over marijuana. Again, there's got to be a way to balance this off so we're not destroying people's lives for making stupid decisions as young kids, but at the same time, not encouraging its use. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how you would write these things. I just don't want to see the mainstreaming of marijuana. But that fits with the Great Reset. How are we going to keep people happy?
Yes.
Drugs and video games, right? And you see it in the Bible, pharmakia, witchcraft, altered states of consciousness. And I just think the whole thing is, frankly, setting up some serious biblical things that are coming. I mean, everybody can have marijuana now, no big deal. I'm like, let's just watch and see how many people have altered states of consciousness and start contacting entities, right? I'm not kidding, because you go look at the websites of the New Agers. They'll tell you this is one of the ways. The mushrooms and the marijuana are ways to meet spirit guides.
100%, and the reason alcohol is so destructive, like you said, is because it's socially acceptable, right? And so that's what I think they're trying to do with marijuana, make it more acceptable socially. And then now it becomes every bit as dangerous or more so than alcohol. Absolutely. And Yuval Harari, World Economic Forum advisor, said, when AI takes over and we have a bunch of useless eaters who no longer have any value to society, they'll stay home, they'll smoke their pot, they'll get high, and they'll play video games.
Wow. I told the kids in the control room, I'm so glad I'm not in my 20s. Aren't you, Leo?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I might take 40s back, but
no. You know what? 55, 56, I could just freeze it right here. It's a perfect age right here. All right, leoholman.com, leoholman.substack.com, leoholman.com, leoholman.substack.com. Thank you, Leo. And thank you guys for remembering us in your end of the year giving. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. May God save America. Take care.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
78 countries, 330 million Christians being persecuted around the world. It is the most persecuted religion across the Middle East and Africa and elsewhere. And to your point, relative silence from the international